Hello, welcome to Good Day Hobbies, and in today's episode we're going to be continuing our Lizardmen army while painting up some classic Terradon riders from 5th edition Warhammer Fantasy. These are the Terradon riders that came in the little Warhammer blister packs, and you would buy them individually, so I only have two, but we're going to paint them up in two separate themes, really brightly coloured, classic Lizardmen style. Here we go. After getting the minis assembled with pinning and gluing, I then gave them a black base coat and a Zenithal Prime, and then we can move straight on to the first Terradon. For starters, I wanted this guy to be more reminiscent of the current paint schemes that the Terradons are depicted in, so a very blue and turquoise theme for the wings. So I'm starting with Croxagore Scales contrast paint just to get a nice vibrant blue base coat, before putting Vallejo Jade Green into my airbrush and spraying a nice gradient across the tips of the wings. Repeating the process again, but with a mix of jade green and white, just to get really nice, bright, vibrant ends to those wings. Once that was done, it was onto the main body of these flying reptiles, and I thought I'd start by base coating them in Dark Angel's green contrast paint. Before coming in and painting all the skin a nice vibrant goblin green colour and applying a dark green wash to bring out all of those details. I then used that original bright green to re-highlight all the skin areas and bring back that nice pop of vibrancy. I wanted to create some variation to the underside of the Terradon, so I've come in here with a tan colour, just painting in the kind of stomach and chest and throat areas of the Terradon. Next, I wanted to continue that vibe of getting inspiration from the new Terradon box art, so I wanted to do a little bit of freehand on the wings, bringing some patterns out from those scales, making nice reptilian markings. If you're enjoying this video, remember to leave a like and drop a comment, and let me know down below what other old classic Lizardmen minis I should paint. Then I just finished this guy up by painting all the teeth and bones and giving him these nice red glowing eyes. Now it's time for the second Terradon, and we're going to jump straight back onto the airbrush with a red base coat followed by a brown base coat to the wings. Then we're going to build up a similar gradient, just this time from a brown to a yellow, so I'm building up a really bright yellow corner and just fading that out. Further up the wing we go. Then I'm going to bring back some of that definition in the body and the scales by applying a dark red wash of Berserker Bloodshade. Then I just filled in all these little sections like the claws and the bone protrusions coming from the back and around the head. I painted all the scales black before moving on to adding some freehand on the wings. I just did a similar freehand of the markings on the wings following the scales and just trying to make them look as natural and as reptilian as possible. To finish, I just added some Tesseract glow to give him these nice green glowing eyes. Now let's move on to the skinks. To start with, I just gave them a bright blue base coat, and whilst that dried, I painted the wood and metal sections with the contrast paint Wildwood. Then I just gave the skin a wash of very watered down Croxagore Scales before moving on to painting the frills. To start with, I just painted the main section red before mixing up a nice bright vibrant orange, using that orange to base coat the rest of the frills, and then blending out using the yellow until you get to a pure yellow on the edge. I used the original Lothern blue to re-highlight all the skink's skin. Then I just gave them a quick non-metallic metal of a ochre color, followed by an orange, followed by a nice vibrant yellow, and then finishing it off with spot highlights of dawn yellow. And with that, the skinks are done and we can move on to the basing. For the basing, I specifically wanted to build something a little bit interesting and a little bit special. So first up, I cut 2 blocks of blue foam out of my blue foam sheet and proceeded to draw some Aztec type designs onto said foam, cutting out and ripping off chunks to make them look battle damaged and partly destroyed, along with cutting in kind of intricate designs reminiscent of an Aztec ziggurat. After applying basing texture, it was time to prime and then on to painting. Now for the ground, I just dry brushed a nice dark brown over the soil. And for the stone, I just dry brushed a mixture of greys, browns and greens all over the stone to make them look nice and worn. I then proceeded to glue a variety of tufts and flocking all over the bases and some up the stone structures as well. I then proceed to use the Dirty Down Moss effects paint to build up a moss effect within all the cracks and some of the crevices, creating quite a nice textured moss effect. To get this to really bloom, I used a green wash to reactivate the Dirty Down paint and also to make it not quite so in your face and overpowering. Overall, once all the grass tufts are on and the paint has finished drying, it's then just time to glue the minis to the base and then it's on to the grand reveal. And there we have it, some 5th edition Terradon riders painted up in a classic style with some wicked basing. Overall, these guys were a blast to paint and I'm looking forward to painting some more Lizardmen and getting my classic Lizardmen army on the tabletop. Cheers, see ya.